Hello and welcome to this edition of Big Scott 35. Let's talk. I got somebody here tonight. It's Bobbles and Ball Cards, somebody that has kind of came in. How long you been doing this now on YouTube? A year or two?
Actually, my channel I started the channel a little over 2 years ago,
Okay,
but I started it just like opening packs and boxes, like blasters and stuff like that.
right.
And I don't have a whole lot of videos of that doing that up. I've tried doing it even recently, and I don't know. I enjoy this more than sitting here. Like I find myself not
Right,
knowing, does people wanna see every card? Do they wanna hear every name? Do they just wanna see the hits? And I
right.
get, like, frazzled with doing the box opening thing, which is funny. I was actually telling somebody yesterday because we opened those tops up, and, I was like, "Maybe when I do these things, I need to just do them live." Because I've actually, like, I'm friends with Platinum.
Hmm.
They're a breaker, and we've been down several times, and I actually, when we're down there, one of my favorite things is I get to open product because I'll be like, hey, let me do some breaks. I can
Right,
do that no problem,
right,
but it's got an audience, there's chat and what people are looking for.
right.
There's people there, so yeah, but I started a little over 2 years ago. The channel kind of became a channel, I would say March of 2020. It was December of 2019 when I created the channel, but it actually kind of became the channel in March of 2020.
Yeah, I found you. Actually, I found Guns and Natsman first because I was thinking about going to SGC and trying them out. And through them, I think Natsman was talking on one of his mini lives that he likes to do just randomly
Mhm.
during the day. And you popped on and sharing your knowledge. And I was like, I got to find out who this guy is. And through that, I started following you. And we've been slowly building. I think since the national last year, you hit me up the night that I showed off my first day pickups with the
The Clemente.
yeah, the Clemente at a
Yep.
2.5, and we both share. It's the card, not the grade, which I think everybody should share that, and try to find the best looking card that you can afford
I
in your
I'm gonna
price
tell
range.
you, I think the biggest issue, and I can't say everybody because I know there's still some guys out there and this is something that I actually just got done watching a live that some guys are doing. Then I'm not trying to like talk bad about anybody, but I
Right.
think the term hobby is being broadened and stretched further, um, and it's got more categories inside of it,
Hmm.
outside of what it used to be of just baseball cards, football cards, basketball cards, whatever.
Hmm.
I think now the term hobby is, are you in it to collect? Are you in it only to try to flip for monetary value? Are you in it for mostly content? Um, there's many purposes now inside of what we are generalizing as the hobby.
Hmm.
And there's still collectors out there. Um, but I think a lot of your content and even when I say, I don't want to sit here and say, well, I'm only a collector,
Hmm.
because let's be real, that's not the case either. But my favorite part of the hobby
Hmm.
is, like you said, hunting for a card, putting a target down, searching for a card, and then that satisfaction of finally being able to obtain it.
Hmm.
And if that is a passion inside of you, it's not about grade specific.
Right.
Um, I used to joke with my wife and say I may be setting a goal for the best collection out there in a 3 or below. But now my new thing with some of the cards that I've been obtaining, um, is I was always told to strive for straight A's, and that's what I'm working on. because recently every card I've been getting is an A,
Right.
but and I'll show. I have them right here on my table, and I know you've seen them.
Mhm.
But how can I not just be absolutely elated to own?
Yeah, that's a beautiful card.
And yeah, it's only an A. The big league on the bottom was cut off. It
Okay.
has the hole punch, um, but the back is also clean. There's like no visual like defects to it. I've seen
Right.
some get wrinkled, like it was in somebody's wallet,
Right.
and they're out of a price range I could obtain,
Right.
because they're a 1 or maybe even a 1.5 or something, and I'm just like, I can't afford that.
Right.
I'll tell you, I always say when I'm looking for a card specifically, I don't set a grade or like target it as I want a Babe Ruth and a 3.
Mhm.
I'll say I want to find a Babe Ruth at this price.
Right.
And then what I go from there is if I am ready to purchase, I will go on and I'll start hunting, my slabs or eBay or what have you, depending on the card, and see what fits inside of that price range.
Mhm.
Now, if I'm like, okay, I have 3,000 and I want to buy X card,
Mhm.
and I go on and that 3,000 could get me into like a 4 or a 5. Well, I also know, okay, there's like a 1 here or a 2 here that looks really nice and I can get it for 1,200. Well, instead of spending my load, I can save money and buy a card that looks nice.
Right.
And stuff like a Ruth, that's something that I can buy today and I have zero question of whether that thing's A through 10 if it's going to go down in value.
Right.
Like what I paid for that is only ever going to increase or stay flat. I have zero doubt that that will ever lose value.
Right.
So, you
I,
know,
that's when I purchase comic cards, that's I always go for vintage because I'm not going to pay anything now. You showed your couple of hits yesterday, shared them with us and a few other people.
yeah.
Your wife is one of the luckiest people on earth. And
Man,
I know she is a great influence behind you on this. So thank
oh,
you,
she
Missus,
loves
for
this stuff.
everything. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I I actually called somebody on video chat because I was like, and it was Sean from the group. Sean
Mhm.
Dole's I can't pronounce his last
I know
name.
you're
It's
talking
so
about.
simple but so hard at the same time. Anyway,
Right.
I tried calling him and JJ on video chat because I was like, they're not going to believe this. We're
Right.
constantly, and it's all luck.
Mhm.
Let's be real. It's all luck. But we've shared some hits that we've had over the course of having the group or YouTube or whatever. And I know it has to make people think there's no way that they're constantly like pulling this stuff because it is. It's absurd the luck that we have with it. But
Right.
she pulls majority of all of it. Like I'm not even joking yesterday. This is the entire scenario. I will lay it out right now. And for everyone watching, if you don't know the story, my wife wanted to open 2022 Top Series 1. I'll be honest, I wasn't too interested because I know it's heavily printed and I knew to recoup your money, it would be pretty difficult.
Mhm.
There's going to be so much of it out there ripping, and we liked, I felt it was a torn situation because me and her really do enjoy rip and wax. And we used to be able to buy a case and, it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't, it was like $800 maybe for a case.
Right.
That's not bad compared to prices today.
Right.
And so we don't get to do that like we were because the prices have went up. And she was like, she was just joking around with me the other night and said something about you know, she was joking and she's like, "Can I have $3,000?" And I'm like, for what?" And keep in mind, we have an account that's just for buying cards or wax or whatever, Um, I eBay, that's what I picked my phone up. eBay just alerted me, sold another card. So that the card money is, Anyway, she was like, "Can I borrow can I get $3,000?" And I'm like, "For what?" And she's like, "Well, I can buy a case of Hobby and a case of Jumbo." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?" I was like, how difficult it's gonna be. But then and we talked about it and she's like, "Okay, I understand." And then I was like, I had to go to my LCS to take the sub order back to him. And I was like, my shop owner's name's Bart. And I was like, "Hey, did you get any cases of tops?" And at first I said, "Does anybody hit anything good?" And he was like, "Yeah, somebody pulled a really cool soda auto out of 10." And I'm like, "Yeah, great. You know, awesome
That's
card." Um, so then I was like, "Did you get any cases?" And he was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What do you add on a case?" And so he figured up what he could do for a case and he gave me, prices. And I sat there for a bit talking and everything. And I was just thinking about it. And I was actually in my head, I was like, okay, which route is better? Do I get a Hobby or do I get a Jumbo? And I've always had this thing where I battle, like, even going to Walmart, sometimes you're like, okay, there's 10 blasters on the shelf, but if I only buy 5, I know the other 5 is going to have everything good in it.
right.
It's like this mind struggle. And so I was like, well, let's just have some fun. And that's the thing everybody needs to understand. Um, I completely get that wax prices are crazy. Um, and I completely understand that yesterday could have been a complete bust. I could have bought both cases and lost everything. Well, not everything. There's going to be some value there, but for the most part, I could have. It could have went bad. Um, but you got to remember the fun factor in it,
Yep. You can't.
and we don't do it as often as we used to be able to because of the price of the wax. But I also don't want it to go away just because of how much stuff's printed. I don't want that part of the hobby going away because it's something me and her both enjoy.
Right.
Um, and so I always think of it, we're not really vacation folk. We don't go to Disney World, we don't go to the Bahamas, we're not vacation folk. Um, so and I'm not a theater guy. I don't really like going to movie theaters. There's things out there that people do that they
Right.
spend money on that is just for their fun factor. And
Right.
something me and her really enjoy is sitting down and busting a case of wax.
Mhm.
So what's the harm in doing it every so often? And then you have the chances. Like I said, not every time we open wax we hit massive cards, but I'm pretty certain yesterday I got all my money back easily.
Yes.
I mean,
The
my
first card you showed, I was like, well, winner.
so here is my plan. This is the plan, and I think the plan should work out easily. So this was the big hit.
Mhm.
It's hard to see because the glare of my monitor. All right, there's the Wander, the silver pack, and this is it doesn't look orange, but it's actually orange out of 25. So my plan is sell this.
Mhm.
Okay, that should cover what I spent on both cases. Most likely, also have profit
Right.
right off the bat.
Yep.
I also sold, actually packaged them up, but we hit 20 base Wander
Yeah.
out of the 2 cases. Just in case anybody's curious, how much does Wander come out? It's about every single hobby box and probably 2, I'd say 2 per jumbo box That would have been at 12. Maybe average of 1.75 per jumbo, and then probably around close to 1 per every hobby box. You'll get a wander.
Right.
We had 20 total. If you think about it, there's 12 hobbies, 6 jumbos. So you do the math there to figure the average. But those are going between 15 and 20 bucks easily. Now, I'm going to straight up be honest with everybody. I think gems are going to be hard unless it was just the run that we hit, but they were off-centered. And I posted a photo of all 20 of them. That way somebody could see everything. I actually did a full picture and then kind of try to break it to where they could see them up close, so they could make their own judgment. But anyway, I got $350 for 20 base cards. Now, some might say, well, you're crazy because you could have graded them and got more. I'm thinking these things are going to go down because there's got to be like 1 million of them printed. And that's
Right.
not exaggerating.
Yeah.
They got to have printed 1 million of them. So I've already recouped $350. I have this cool ass card that I'll hold for you. I mean, these are worth it. It's not gonna get you the value of the case, but the Soto, I honestly, I'm probably gonna take the funds from this and put towards the Soto because I was really hoping to get the Soto.
Right. I saw
But
the Soto one today.
yeah, the Soto's awesome.
Yeah.
It's around 100. What are they doing? Like 185 to 225. They vary on price for the Soto.
Right.
The Alonso's doing about 100 to 125.
Mm-hmm.
But those are case hits, like one per
Okay.
case
Right.
for hobby. We did not get one in jumbo, so that tells you they're a limited print.
Wow.
So that's a cool card. Now, when I sell this one, or if I sell it, I should say, if I sell and it goes to plan where I get, like I said, pays for everything and then a little bit of profit. I want to keep these. And I know people are going to say you're dumb, sell them, but that's Trout and another Wander auto.
That Trout. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So these would be free.
Right.
And then
Yeah. The
short print.
Yeah.
So I still have that. I sold all the base, but I have the short print. That would be free. And then this, I may keep this, or my friend, Platinum, they're big Yankees fans. I might grade it and give it to them. I haven't decided yet. The missus really likes it because we watched the game, but the cornfield, Aaron Judge, that was one of probably the best cornfield ones you could get. I mean, it's Aaron Judge, the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was insane. 2 cases.
Mm-hmm.
If I can sell the one Wander and pay for the cases, plus I'm pretty sure I can make profit. Plus the case, plus pay for the cases. Oh, and then just as a collector, I think these are cool, and I want to keep these. There's the box topper.
Oh yeah.
And then the paper 87. We didn't get the non-auto of the silver pack.
Right.
Oh shit! I keep forgetting. I didn't show all of this stuff. These are really cool.
Yeah, they got some. Did you get any of the colored or numbered or?
We did. I got 2 blacks. There was I'm gonna tell you the parallel stuff was not nice.
I saw somebody open up a case and they only got 3 colors and
we got 2 blacks. I got a vintage stock. I got a pink.
Who was your vintage stock of?
It was actually a rookie, but it's a
Oh,
dude that hit 200.
okay. Yeah, I saw a Freddie Freeman vintage stock
Stuart Fairchild for
yesterday.
the Diamondbacks. I mean, like I said, even without the Wanders, if the price point wasn't so much,
Hmm.
the boxes were cool.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling.
Abreu
The
auto out of
nice.
199. Tim Raines
Oh, the
red
rock.
out of 25.
Wish I was at Expos. I'd be hitting you up for that.
I mean, so there was stuff in there that if the price point wasn't so high, it would have still been cool.
Right,
Um, but with the price point being so high, you have to hit
right.
like the Wander or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, just so you're not like crying in tears. There was a Duran short print.
Oh, there you go. That's the other rookie there.
Yeah. I got the Vidal Brujan foil, which I heard people talking about him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, overall it was a fun rip. I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you something that I haven't really heard anybody talking about. And this is where the price comes in. Like when I showed these hits, everybody's like, "Holy crap, that's the greatest case ever." Yes, it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie, it was pure luck that we hit two Wanders of Trout, the Wander SP. You know, it
Right.
was luck. But you want to know something? Again, if the price wasn't so high, which would make this product just so epic, without even the fact, and it's kind of funny that it collaborates like this. 1987 tops. That was like prime
Right.
year when all of the guys my age and all that was getting into it. I've said many times, I got into cards when I was like 6 to 8 years old. I was born in 1980.
Hmm.
87 tops was everywhere. I have complete sets in that walk-in closet back there. These were epic with the wood grain.
Right.
And I actually, just to show, I pulled out all of them because I might go for the damn set.
Right.
It's cool, and then I also set all the silver packs because
Hmm.
they're also the 87 design. So
Yeah, I
you
like the
can have
87
fun
silver. Yeah.
without needing a Wander auto.
Yeah.
It's just the price. It's hard to swallow that. Uh, if you want to buy a box to have fun ripping the wax, I highly suggest it. If you want to build a set, try to build that 87 set. Buy singles. Go on ComC or wherever. I don't know if they'll pop up on ComC because of the 50-cent fee to upload, but I'm sure people will post lots up or something of them.
Right.
But that's just memories. I'll tell you, I don't think I brought it up here yet. One of the cards I got most excited about is some of the relics have the 87 design with a little game used relic piece. I hit a Griffey
Hmm.
with a little game used piece in it. And then right after that one, my wife pulled a Tony Gwynn. And I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Gwynn, it's game used Tony Gwynn.
Right.
So there's things in it that's not going to make you rich, uh, but you can have a hell of a lot of fun in it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm
I pre-ordered a jumbo, but also at the same time pre-ordered a hockey series 1 and a 10 of series 1. And the 10 doesn't get released till the end of the month, so I got to wait till the end of the month to get all 3 of those. So
Did you order the Upper Deck Series 1 hockey?
yeah,
So when is that coming out? Because
it's
that
supposed
is what I actually told her I wanted to buy a case of, but
think
then
it's
it
supposed
said like March.
well, I thought it was supposed to be, unless they pushed it back again. I got to look because it was supposed to be either this week or next week. And then the retail stuff was at the end of the month, right at the beginning of March.
I'm gonna have to
So
look again then, because
they had the hobby earlier, way earlier than the retail, like 2 weeks on the list.
have you seen their checklist yet?
No, but I don't know if you know who Dr. Exclusive is. He does
No.
a lot of on Instagram. He's a lot, really big in hockey. That's kind of my go-to guy for hockey. He sent me a list of all the young guns for like this year.
Okay, yeah, I want to see the checklist and see, because I'm not gonna lie. So I haven't announced this on my channel, so you're getting something exclusive. I
Okay.
haven't posted it in the group, and
Okay.
I said there was a post in the group the other day, and I made a comment, and I said, I'll fill you guys in. I'm making a shift in my collection, and I haven't really told anybody. Well, I mentioned it to a couple guys I talk to all the time, but so I've made the decision because I have so many slabs and stuff, and I've realized I can't, like, getting that Ruth in hand.
Hmm.
It like just hit me. It was like, okay, this is like amazing, but I can't keep doing that kind of stuff and be able to like collect everything.
Right.
And I get in like zones where I'll shift this way and start picking up like maybe football. And then I was going this way and getting basketball, and I was trying to go this way and get hockey. And it was just too many different routes to try to take. And I have made the decision because I feel if I condense down to what I just absolutely love, instead of trying to go after the entire picture,
Hmm.
just pick out a few pieces of it. I am getting rid of my football, except for um, Ravens, because I like collecting the Ravens. Um, Emmett Smith, because the missus really likes her Emmett Smith collection. And then, I'm keeping like my Red Grange, Jim Thorpe, Jim Brown, Unitas, etc. But guys that, like, I probably have some here, um, like Lynn Swan. You know, I, Lynn Swan was a great player, but it's not something I need to hold on to.
Right.
So I'm going to condense down my football and my basketball. Basketball, I'm going to keep. I have some Kobe's that I want to keep. I am going to keep my Shaqs, and there might be one or two other things that I'll keep. Everything else, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of.
Right.
What that'll allow me to do is free up, obviously, more funds, but it also will set me on a more directional path.
Hmm.
Um, I really love hockey now. It's something, if you ask me 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I would have had zero interest in.
Hmm.
Um, but me and the missus, when other sports we couldn't find it, we found some hockey on a shelf in Walmart one day, and I picked up some packs, and she pulls out. I still remember it was a Dominic Kubalik Young Gun canvas, and I was like, oh well, that's cool. It's a nice card stock and everything, and just started. We found, okay, well, we can buy a case of Upper Deck hockey. Again, the prices have changed, because then it was like $7.89 or something like that for a full hobby case. Um, she pulled the Hughes brothers and like Cale Makar. I have a Cale Makar Pristine SGC. It's one. Last time I looked, it was one of only three. Um, and then the funniest story ever, I'll never forget this, is we went to Blowout because, well, it's right up there in Chantilly.
Right.
And on the way home, we were coming home with a case, and she's like, I'm going to pull the Cale Makar clear cut. And I'm like, yeah, you're getting a little too cocky now, And she's like, no, I'm gonna pull the Cale Makar clear cut. And I'm like, yeah, okay. She's like, if I say it, I can speak it into existence. It's just joking around. She's not like that conceited, but
Right.
sure enough, man, I'm not even. I can't make it up. Number one, she pulled the Cale Makar clear cut. But the way she pulled the Cale Makar clear cut, it was like she literally spoke it into existence.
Right.
Because the clear cuts are supposed to be in the middle of the pack. She opened the pack and immediately just started laughing. It was on the bottom of the pack, like it was mistakenly inserted in the pack.
Right.
And she pulled the Cale Makar clear cut. And I was like, how in the hell is this even possible?
Right.
You know, I'll still,
Yeah.
I'll never forget her first big pull, because she didn't even understand how big it was. And that was the 2019 Topps Chrome Fernando Tatis Red Wave out of 5.
Oh, geez.
She pulled that in her first pack.
Yeah, I remember
And
you showing that one. Yeah.
yeah, she pulled that in her first pack and didn't even realize what she pulled.
Right.
She set it aside, We were sitting on the couch. I was on one end, she was on the other. We have end tables on either side, and she set it aside, and I think I said something about it'd be cool to pull like a Tatis refractor or something like that. And she's like, "Oh, well, was I supposed to give you this?" And she handed it to me, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me right now?" And it was like, "Holy cow!" And we bought one box. It
Right.
was up at Chantilly. When we were leaving, we bought one box of Chrome and one box of 2019 Top Series 2. For those new or back into the hobby that talk about wax prices, that Chrome hobby box was $89.
Yeah.
$89. And the Top Series 2, I think, was 60?
Probably.
60 or 69, something like that.
Yeah.
And here we are today with 2022 Series 1 talking about 130 bucks a box.
Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago. So that's the sad part to see. It's awesome that people have gotten back into it. It's awesome meeting, guys like yourself and making more friends.
Right.
Not denying that a bit. I'm glad the hobby grew. It's just sad that a lot of it grew for the wrong reason, and it was strictly just financial.
And to me, it grew through ignorance because people still don't know exactly when you sit there and you talk about this year, Wander Franco selling you sold 20 at $20 or $350.
I sold them at like $17.50 each. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And you can get,
For
a rookie.
perspective,
Right.
to give people perspective when he says, and it's a bad phrase, I guess, to use, but ignorance,
Right.
lack of knowledge is what I
It's
like
lack
to
of
say.
knowledge. It's not that you're stupid. Yeah.
I was buying Tatis tops for
Mhm.
$5 in 2019.
Mhm.
$5. And that was after he had played half a season and showed how much talent he had.
Right.
I bought in the World Series, during the freaking World Series, I was buying 2018 update Juan Soto's for $12 to $15 a piece.
Right.
And everybody knows the print on 2022 Top Series 1 is going to be to the moon, as everyone likes to say.
Right.
And they're still spending easily 17, 20 bucks a card.
Right.
That's exactly where we're seeing these things, because it's like the Mac Jones, like Don Russ rated rookie, when people were sending them to PSA and there was these $1,000+ sales. We know that isn't legit. It might be a legit sale, but it's not legitimate going to ever hold that value.
Right.
Like that person that spent $3,000, they are never getting that value out of that card again.
Right.
Ever.
And I'm a baseball guy, so I'm going to stick with baseball. Last year's rookie class, nobody jumped out. There was no Juan Soto, wasn't no Acuna, wasn't any Judge, wasn't any Wander Franco, whatever. But to me, the class itself had a larger impact in the game last year than one or two players, and I think they're going to be a longevity in that class.
So I
Now,
agree with you.
does that add up to the hobby side? Probably not, but it's still a good hobby class, and they're already forgotten about. Everybody's still Wander Franco now, so
So I'm baseball too, and like I was talking about, I kind of veered off of it, but with selling my football and basketball and stuff like that, and I've already adjusted my baseball collecting slightly with the ultra minor stuff. There's stuff like I said, I sold all the Franco. I didn't keep a single Franco base
right,
just because I know there's going to be so many out there, but I
right,
did want to keep the SP. Um,
mhm,
I know that is a card. They made them tougher to pull. And even though there might be a large amount of copies of it, that's going to be at the level of, I don't know. I don't even want to speculate on print run, but if you look at like the 2011 update Trout, where what is there 2,000 or something like that, 3,000 graded by PSA or whatever the case may be on the pop report, I would put that SP more in line with that. It might be more, higher
mhm,
print than that, but just in a scale of how much printed, I'm safer with that than I am keeping a base card.
right,
Um, as back to your 2021 point, another reason I bought 2022, I didn't buy any hobby 2021 at all. I I
yeah,
knew again
I wouldn't,
the hobby was at its peak. Like, think about it. We are here in February. What happened in February 2021?
right,
Prices were the
nuts,
worst they had ever been. So
hmm
when 2021 Top Series 1 came out, the hobby was in this freaking massive atomic, explosion, and prices were through the roof. So the wax was so high, and I just couldn't see anything in there
right,
that I could condone spending that on. I did buy some retail
me
just to
too,
have, again, that rip fun.
hmm
I'm also going to tell you, uh, I'm not as old as I look with the gray beard, but my eyes have been getting really bad. I hated 2021 tops. I
me
couldn't
too,
see the names on the card, and
hmm
that took my interest of the card away. I hated the design of it, let alone the rookie class. I just didn't enjoy opening it because I couldn't see the names.
exactly,
Um, I think there's some players uh, that have talent. But another issue that's falling and where Wander is kind of more interesting to folks, I guess, most of the rookies that were decent in 2021, the age is against them.
yep,
You know, they're already 24, 25, 26 years old. And
yep,
that's not old, but for a rookie, that's that's not what we're used to when we had Tatis and Soto and Acuna, and Wander coming up and everything. So that interest level on the like Ryan Mountcastle, I think is a great player.
hmm
But he's older. India, I think, is probably a good buy from Update. Um, I think isn't Kellenic also his rookie's an update? So there's
yeah,
some guys in that 2021 class that they're decent players, but for the hobby value, as you were mentioning, the age with the lost season in the minors, that's going to affect like
yeah.
moving forward. Those guys lost a season in the minor leagues. Um,
Well, with
and
Kellenic came up and didn't help it the value because he didn't do well when he first started. He
yeah,
went down and then came back up, and since he plays in Seattle, he actually did really, really well, but nobody knew. It was like
right.
playing in silence.
And again, they lost a full season. I mean,
Right,
they might have played in Dominican or like the Arizona Fall League or something like that, wherever they
right.
had ball play going on, but it's not the same.
No.
Baseball, as fans of the game, we know is a rhythmic sport. You lose an entire season,
Mhm.
you're not just jumping back in the batter's box and going to do your thing. I mean,
Yep.
look what happened
Body
with Soto.
Yeah, body memory. It's
Yeah, I mean, Soto struggled beginning of 2021, and
mhm,
he literally admitted that he went to the home run derby basically to use it as extra batting practice because he was so frustrated that he couldn't get launch on the ball. And
right,
that's one of the best hitters in today's game, sitting there
right.
saying, "I couldn't hit the ball in the air."
Yep.
And, that was smart on his part, but that's also why he's one of the best players in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that's well with these older guys like you got Kellenick, Cronenworth. I really am a big
yep.
Cronenworth fan. These guys know how to adjust. They've had to make adjustments, and I'm mad because Kellenick was a Met and got traded a dumb trade.
Yeah,
Uh,
y'all had
him and Justin Dunn.
didn't you have Jimenez too? Or
No.
is he now a Met? I'm trying to remember. Andres Jimenez?
Oh yes, yeah. That he was kind of thrown in with the Rosario deal for Lindor and Carrasco.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he
I
could be
wasn't
a
upset
decent
about
player.
Rosia, but at least and then Ahmad had a good season. Both of them played decent over in Cleveland. Uh, but
But that's where you gotta like, as you're saying, they're not hobby darlings on this 2021. If you look at some guys out there, like Ozzy Albies, I know a lot of
mhm,
people throw his name out a lot. Rafael Devers, there's
mhm.
some players out there that are really talented ball players,
I-
but they don't get hobby love.
that Rafael
And
Devers, I don't understand that either. He played with one hand in the playoffs. His
yeah, I
other
mean,
wrist was messed up.
Bo Bichette, he's
Yeah.
a talented player,
Hmm.
but he's not going to get hobby love. Um, you know, Bo is a flashy player,
Hmm.
and Vlad is the one people are loving.
Yeah.
So that gets me. Jordan Alvarez, dude's an amazing hitter. He's
Yeah.
not great playing the field, but he can hit the ball. No hobby love.
Yeah.
So it's baseball's a very finicky sport.
Yeah.
Um,
It's just too this it's just whoever gets pushed and whoever the
yep.
hobby is attracted to. I mean,
And
no rhyme or reason.
people are like a big topic right now, especially in the baseball market. And I keep hearing some folks out there that, again, I'm not throwing any names out, but they want to talk stuff that they really don't know much about. And they like to discuss what's going to happen, their opinions on if the lockout continues or they strike. I'm not going to sit here and say I know what's going to happen one way or the other. Um, and I'll tell you, none of the people I'm talking about are guys that we chat with.
Yeah,
Just
that's
because we've had that conversation in chat. I just
right.
want to make
Yep.
that clear. It's not
Yep.
anybody like that. There's
Yeah.
some other folks.
Right.
Um, I think personally there will be some interest lost because if they're not playing the game, then what are you buying the cards based on?
Yeah.
We said for so long when the hobby was like exploding and the values were exploding, and COVID happened and all the stuff, the game stopped and everything. I did videos. I was like, how is no games making these guys worth more? And then we kept saying, oh well, the market is back to normal because now we're basing values on performance levels. Right? That was the normalcy. That was what we
Right.
all wanted. That got back to thing making sense. If they're not playing again, that's going to affect because what are we paying for? Now, reasons that I think may not affect it is you're going to have people with this mentality of, well, now's the time to buy. So then you're going to still have strong values because you're going to have more people thinking, these investors out there, well, it's time to buy, they're not
Yeah.
playing, values are going to dip. So you're going to have, the funny thing is it's all like predictable in market supply demand,
Hmm.
tactics. And if the demand is up because everybody's got the same thought, well, now's the time to buy because they're locked out, well, then the demand is going to increase.
Right.
Whether or not the supply does, I'm not going to sell just because they're not playing. So I'm not going to feed into the supply level, but I don't know if others will. So that's where things might shift. If a lockout or a strike is announced, you might see people unloading early to try to catch the value.
Mhm.
But then once the people that come in that are saying, well, now's a great time to buy, they're going to drive the value down because the ones that unloaded, the investors that want that top end that are like, well, I can buy that later, they're going to flood the market. And
Right.
then the buyers are going to have to swoon in on that.
Mhm.
So I think we could see a slight adjustment. I don't think it's going to crash. And another thing, like we were just talking about with age, Juan Soto is 23.
Mhm.
What is Acuna? 23, 24.
Yeah.
Tatis, 20, about 23 as well.
Mhm.
Something like that. If they do miss an entire season, which would not be cool, but if they missed an entire season, we're still talking about three of the most talented guys in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Basically, almost the faces of the league,
Yep.
still under 25 years old.
Yeah.
That's why the 2021 class didn't get that shine because those guys are already 25 years old. We got veterans that aren't even 25 years old.
Right.
I mean, that's a
Well,
beautiful thing for baseball.
if we miss the entire season, that is a very drastic thing. I think it's going to be a little bit of a delay because they already said you got to have 4 weeks of preseason, or they want 4 weeks of
Mhm.
preseason, and you know it, they. I think it would be devastating because with the Olympics about over with, I already have people coming to me that don't quite understand what's going on. They're just hearing about the lockout. Football
Mhm.
season's over. Olympics is about to be over. You're going to have March Madness, but you still have a little bit of a lull because you got hockey not quite to the playoffs, NBA not quite to the playoffs. This is time for baseball to kind of start their season and shine. And if you don't
Mhm.
have it going, it's going to be devastating. I think.
It's
I
gonna
really
suck,
do.
no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. I'm not saying like everything's gonna be, unicorns and rainbows. I
Right.
don't think it's gonna crash though. I just
Yeah.
don't
Well,
see it crashing.
you were talking about pricing. I think pricing for boxes this year is already shown to come down since last year. They're kind of in between for me. That's why I went ahead and bought a jumbo. Because it
Well, that's what I was also talking about though. Last year at release,
mhm,
you had like everything in the hobby
mhm,
was at its highest
right.
ever. Like February of 2021 was the absolute like craziest time. In fact, I can go back and like maybe I should show it or share it one day. I think it'll allow me to show it, but February 2021, I wasn't even buying sports cards.
Right.
That was literally when I was like, okay, this stuff is too nuts for me right now. I want to let things settle. I am not a comic guy,
Mhm,
but I needed something to keep me entertained in the hobby, like collecting portion
mhm,
of a hobby. And so I started researching comic books and I bought some comic books and some video games.
yep,
Just so I could keep a collector, you know, mind and have some fun with collecting.
right,
But I wasn't touching cards. I knew it didn't make any sense.
right.
So, but yeah,
Yeah, I kinda did the same thing. I went over to some other stuff, but I was still, because I super collect some players, so I
mhm.
can still get cards on the cheap and still be happy at
Yeah,
any time.
you
So
see my tailors up
yeah, yeah,
on the
we've
back
talked
page.
about that. I guessed what card you were looking for when you were opening those boxes and, the older boxes, so but, it's, for me, I have enjoyed this past year or so with baseball collectors because we have proven that we're smarter than any other sport collectors because our prices have come back down to earth just a little bit. where
But
football and basketball is crazy right now.
I'm gonna tell you, so you mentioned hockey,
Uh-huh.
and again, I told you I actually love collecting hockey. I just bought, I'm not gonna spoil what they are, but I just bought 2 more. I bought one last night and one just before I got on here. Um, there's some cards I'm trying to buy, and I don't like pumping stuff,
Mhm.
and it's dumb of me to sit here and say it on YouTube. Like, I do Monday mail days just because it's fun to
Yeah.
share, like, what I'm picking up, and I ain't telling nobody to go buy this stuff. So I don't wanna spoil it because 'cause I've already seen another larger channel already get a graded sub back, and they had some in their sub, and I was like, damn it, here we go. Now I gotta like try to get some that I've been wanting before other people get them. And I'll tell you when we're off air or whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, you mentioned baseball is like the smartest.
Mhm.
Hockey,
Yeah.
hockey might trump it because that market has stayed strong throughout everything. It
Yep.
never got stupid wild, and it's not dipped at all. It's a constant little flow. You can literally go on and watch games or keep up with stats for the season, see what players are doing good, and just look at a like if you want to use a market movers or whatever and look at a player, you're just going to see a little steady growth on them. Ovechkin is probably the wildest one simply because he's climbing that ladder. He's having another great season. He showed
Right.
even with age, he's still the best there is out there. So his stuff got a little bit higher. You have more money into, sports cards, whether all sports and non-sports. So you got some people buying the bigger ones. I regret so badly. There was 2 Ovechkin cards. I remember it. Went up to Chantilly, little tiny card show at a motel or a hotel, whatever, conference room. There was 2 Ovechkins there that I wanted. Um, it was the '04, '05, the pre redemption SP Authentic. Somebody had one of those, and then I think it was the Future Watch in like a BGS 8. But
Mhm.
this was 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So neither one of those cards were very expensive at all.
Right.
I was trying to get the guy to work just because I didn't have like again, I'm not sitting here tossing around money like a lunatic. I have a budget that I base off of sale, what I sell and everything else.
Mm.
Um, and I was trying to get him to work with me like $100 or something like that. And it took on the price. And I told him I would think about it. Well, we left and went over to Blowout, and my dumbass meant to go back to the hotel, and I jumped on Interstate 66, heading back to the house. I was almost home. I'm like, crap, I forgot to go back to the hotel and get the Ovechkins. So I regret that
Right.
because those are like probably nearly unobtainable now.
Right.
If it I can't remember if it was the Future Watch. If it was the Future Watch, that is unobtainable. I
Mhm.
can't buy that. That's a 5+ figure card.
Yeah.
Um,
I believe in 2019, I went to it was a year before Washington won the cup. What year was that?
they won in 2018, I
So it's two
believe.
oh, so it was 2017 at Chantilly. I bought a Vetchkin rookie, not rookie, Vetchkin auto, and I
Yeah.
got that. I mean, it was just
Hey,
yes, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I love going there because when I go there, there's 2 things I look for when I go, Virginia players and, Washington Caps. Because
yeah.
out
Are you
here,
talking about the
I
Chantilly
pecan.
show?
What's that?
Are you talking about the Chantilly show?
Yeah, the Chantilly show.
I'm
Because there's
telling
caps
you, like,
everywhere.
I haven't been I can't speak on all the shows because I haven't
Mhm,
been to them. But watching, like, videos people do,
mhm,
I'm gonna tell you Chantilly I see people at Dallas and this and that, and I love the Chantilly show.
Mhm.
It has the right mix
Mhm.
of available vintage at good prices.
Mhm.
It has some new stuff. You know, if you watch Sports Card Investor when he went to the show, he was sitting there buying tickets, like graded tickets.
I was standing
Um,
beside him during that. I wasn't on film, but I was standing by him.
okay, well, the guy he bought that from, that's
Yeah.
the guy I bought my Joe Namath rookie off of.
Oh, okay.
That guy is always at the show. He's always set up right in that same spot next
Right.
to the seating area for the concessions.
Yeah.
And you know, but you could see there was so much there. Now, I'm gonna tell you, Ryan, Card Collector 2, he did his video on it. It said he'd put that as one of the best shows he's ever attended.
Right.
The funny thing is the Chantilly show, and you've been there in the past. The show now is probably half of the size it used to be.
Yeah, they got rid
They've
of it.
actually condensed it down, and
Right.
it's still an amazing show. If it was like it was when it used to be, where they had the autographs over, behind the one wall, and then they extended it further back instead of having the curtains up, and they had that full showroom, and
Mhm.
then they also had another section on the other side of the wall where people were set up.
Yeah.
If they were still like that, and guys like Jeff Wilson and Ryan, Card Collector 2, you got Baseball Collector, Investor Dealer, um, you know, Chris, all them guys going there, and I mean, Chris has probably been there before because he's from this area.
Right.
But if Ryan and Jeff, you know, Sports Card Investor was there when the show was that size, you would be seeing it similar to what people are showing at Dallas and everything.
Well,
I'm
I
telling
think
you,
they
that
said it
show
was
was
smaller
awesome.
because of, COVID this time, but because even my dad goes with me, he loves the history of it, historical stuff on it, and, we've been there when they had the signers on the other side of the wall, and it was all the way back. I think that was one of the years when I bought that, Ovechkin, because he was actually there signing. He
Yeah.
was there
So
year signing that year, and the year they won the cup, they had quite a few caps there signing that year. They
yeah,
couldn't get over there. It was so many people.
the show started getting smaller in 2020
Okay.
because they actually canceled the spring show because
Mhm.
that's when COVID first started. I
Mhm.
think it was that one. Anyway, when they brought it back open, because they had to cancel 1 or 2 of the shows,
Mhm.
when they opened it back up, it was a lot smaller,
Right.
and every show since then, they've kept it small. Now, I do know one of the shows after it first opened back up, it was small, part because some of the dealers didn't attend that show because they had scheduled to go to the Dallas show.
Right.
Now, again, I said I was watching a live before we got on here, and I was hearing those guys, and you know, it's newer guys on YouTube and everything, and it is what it is. But I heard some people talking about like not going to the national and that they would rather attend Dallas. I've never been to the national. I am excited as hell to go this year. I don't care if it's in Atlantic City. I don't care. Like I've been, you know, you go to Nats Park. It's not in the most beautiful part of Washington D.C. You know,
You don't cross the
you
wrong side of the street there.
yeah, you know. So you just have to be sensible about things,
Right.
and every place has a bad area, if you want to
Mhm.
call it that. I'm not even a guy that really likes to travel. I said we don't go on vacation and stuff that much.
Right.
I am just excited because I love attending card shows. Whether I'm buying anything,
Me
I
too.
just love going and looking. And I know that that show is going to have stuff that I've never seen before. And I just want to meet all of you guys because there's many people out there now that I wholeheartedly consider a friend,
Mhm.
but I've never met you guys.
Right.
And you know, Natsman was asking about like doing a trade show, you know, at the house and this and that, which the house was an awesome idea. We all are
Mhm.
getting a discount. I mean,
Right.
you're not going to rent anything for that price.
No.
It's a beautiful house. It looks like it's got a ton of room. Um, we can get groceries and cook right there rather than going out to eat.
Right.
I think it's just going to be an awesome time. I'm hoping anyway everything's like what I'm imagining it. But I told Nathan, I was like, and I'll probably change my mind, but I was like, dude, I don't even know if I'm going to bring many cards.
Right.
You know, I just don't know. My thought is, what do I have that somebody at the National isn't going to have available there? You
Right.
know, I mean, that
You have to
when
wait to
you
see what the hot card is going to be, and if you got that, because last year it was all Shohei Ohtani. It was all Shohei. If you had Shohei, people they were interested.
see,
If
I
not,
I
then you're or
I
vintage. Vintage always people are wanting.
well, vintage, I have some football and I have some basketball. Baseball, I am not letting my vintage go. I've
Right.
sold a couple, but it was duplicates I had. Like I had a second 51 Whitey Ford. I sold it to John. I actually bought the card because I knew John wanted one,
Mhm.
and then he like I guess he just wasn't ready to buy it or whatever. After I bought it, so I was like, "Well, screw it, I'm sending it in to get graded." Then
Right.
somebody will want it. And then
Right.
he ended up circling back around. And he was like, "Hey, you got that Whitey for sale?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm glad you're reaching out because I bought it because I knew you wanted one."
Right.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just different, but I'm sure there's other people out there. Like it's just a crazy feeling. Like even watching videos, like me and the missus watched the Hall of Fame video somebody did where the card display at the Hall of Fame and just seeing that stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I might have been Mike O because he went over that. He did a great video on it.
it wasn't Mike O. It was I don't even remember the channel name.
Oh,
It was
okay.
like a father and a son
Mm.
went, and the son was like opening the display panels up and stuff. And
Mhm.
yeah, I don't remember the channel. I'll be honest. Sometimes I get on and just start
Me too.
just,
The rabbit
just
hole.
looking and stuff. Yeah, like I don't even know the channels.
Right.
Um, I'll tell you another channel I watched a video guy did, and I didn't even know he was still doing videos, but I distinctly remember this guy from years ago. That's Tan Man, baseball fan.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if he's still doing it, but he used to be a huge Jose Canseco super collector. I'm sure you know who he is.
Yeah, I heard the name. I believe I've seen him with somebody else that's an ace collector talking. It's been a couple years
I
now.
know him and another guy were talking about. I don't know if he sold his collection off or bought another guy's collection. I know he used to be a huge Jose Canseco collector. I sold
Right.
him a few things that he
Okay.
didn't have
Okay.
years ago. But I seen he posted a video up, and he has some amazing, rare, like vintage baseball stuff
Right.
that I didn't even know existed. And just watching that stuff and seeing like Breakout Cards, Ryan from Breakout Cards,
Mhm.
he does some great videos sometimes with,
He was at
his
Chantilly when
his
I
pre-war stuff. He loves his pre-war baseball and stuff. And it's cool to see him because, he's not a 16-year-old kid, but he's also not like, a 40, 50, 60, 70-year-old guy. And he has
yeah,
a passion for pre-war cards. And it's awesome to see that, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, I
Um,
talked to him for a minute at Chantilly. He was
yeah,
there.
it's cool seeing that stuff. And that, like in the beginning of this whole conversation, I said the word hobby gets thrown around, but I think it's really stretched far
Mhm.
because, like before, and just even I don't know, what are we in 2022? 4 or 5 years ago, when you tossed out and said the hobby, majority of everybody you could like literally have ultra modern to vintage.
Right.
And it wasn't a lot of segmented stuff in it. And
Right.
it wasn't just, oh, well, I'm only trying to flip cards, you
Right.
know? there was people that sold cards. Yes, we all do. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some people that are financially capable to never sell a card. 99%, I would say, isn't those people. They're selling something at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I have nothing against people selling cards. It's just the ones that are literally only in this to flip, 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 flip. And that's just I I don't know where that gets exciting.
All right.
Like, to me, that would get just cumbersome.
Well,
Always trying to chase.
right. And that was the point like you were making before, and I was gonna kind of jump in on it was this hobby box that just came out 2022. To me, this is where it separates the hobby from the sellers. Because to me, the guys in the hobby to collect, it's going to be a great box. For the guys that are in it trying to make money, might not be for them. They're going to say it's overprinted. They're going to say it's this, that, and the other, or whatever. So this might be the separation even further for the baseball crowd that maybe is needed. Um, we've been going for a little over an hour, and so this is like the longest that I like to go at all. So,
Oh, whenever you need to go, man.
I can go on all night, but I just for people that listen, I got a lot of people that like to listen as a podcast when they're driving, so it's great for a lot of my listeners for this. And people like to break down, have it in the background, so it's the hours about where I like to keep it. And this is something I like to offer my invitation for another day. You did say that we are all staying together in a house. I would like to get a few of us on before the National Assure to talk about that a little further. No hows or bouts, but what we're looking forward to, and maybe even share what we're looking for a little bit.
I have a couple cards that I might go after, but I
Mhm.
really honestly at this moment, February 18th, 2022, I've recently picked up a freaking Willie Mays and a Babe Ruth. I mean,
Well,
there's many more targets out there, but
your mail day last week, your last one was awesome. I love that vintage stuff. It's not something I buy a lot of, but I like looking at it. And
yeah, I love it. So
yeah. So with that being said, when coming up, I always ended on this question: how do you feel about the Fanatics purchase? What did you think about it at first? What do you think about it now?
so I'm impartial to it. I am relieved that they bought Tops. That
Mhm.
was my biggest question mark because Panini can stay Panini. They can go do their Italian thing, with stickers, and that's what their history comes from.
Right.
They could survive. Tops has been like when you think cards, you think Tops, and
Right.
it's not just baseball.
Right.
So many people for the past several years have said, I miss Topps Chrome basketball. I miss Topps Chrome football.
Mhm.
Um, you know, Wayne Gretzky, even in hockey, has a Topps rookie card.
Yeah.
So,
Got it.
yeah, I mean, I have one right there.
Yep.
So, when you think of cardboard,
Mhm.
that is the name
Right.
that pretty much everybody is going to know.
Yeah, they're the Kleenex
And
of baseball cards in
and
general.
cards in general, right?
Right.
When you search iconic football cards or iconic basketball card. Now, basketball is going to flip you more to a Fleer side
Mhm.
because 61 they had Fleer, 86 you got Jordan, so that's a little bit more jumbled, but baseball, football, some hockey. Hockey, you're probably going to get more O-Pee-Chee mixed in, but Just Topps is cards. It's cardboard.
Mhm.
And so when they got that, I was excited. I'm a little confused because I don't know if you heard, but Michael Rubin, and then it was like Jay-Z, Meek Mill, Little Baby or something like that, and many more uh purchased Mitchell and Ness.
No, I didn't hear
So
about that.
I don't know what that was all about. There's some of these investors that are coming into this market space with money confuse me. Like I guess it's just all financial aspects tied
Right.
to celebrity names. But that kind of I did make a joke though. I said, does that mean Panini can no longer make patch cards? I mean, now Fanatics owns Mitchell and
Right.
Ness, which Panini likes to use in their patches. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, overall, I'm not worried about the Fanatics thing. I think it's just more of a monetary title. Fanatics owns Topps. Fanatics runs sports cards. Um, I'm not too worried about it. I
Right.
there's many things I would like to see them do to try to fix some things that we're in. Um, I've heard, and they kind of backed off with interviews like we're doing right now. He was doing them for a while. I
Mhm.
haven't seen any in a long time, but he mentioned something one time about retail product and that being what they print to demand. And I think that would be a great option for like Topps baseball. Print it to the moon. Print as much of it as you absolutely want. You
Mhm.
know, if people are buying it, keep printing it. You know, and then have other sets that you
Mhm.
keep at a limited, you know, structure. Don't make 8,000 different colored parallels with different patterns and this
Right.
and that and the other. Make a limited production product and then make the stuff that kids can buy
Mhm.
for $1 a pack or $2 a pack or whatever, you know. Make the stuff you can buy if you got that wax itch that you want to go buy a blaster box at a cheap price, come home and rip it. And if you don't hit a single thing, it's not gonna break your heart.
Right.
There's ways to do it. Um, and that's what I really, really, really hope that they stick to because Tops, even with their higher echelon product, they've overdone it. I mean, Transcendent was the creme de la creme at 25 grand.
Right.
But then they had to do Transcendent Hall of Fame and Bowman Transcendent and Soccer Transcendent, WWE Transcendent, and they just ran with it. And
Right.
that's where things get bad.
Right.
Um, I actually told the wife when I was driving to the LCS yesterday, something popped in my head, and you asked me a question, I'll put this one on you. Do you find it funny that the junk wax era had Pro Set and Wild Card, and then it disappeared? And here we are today debating about production numbers and what has been revived, but Pro Set and Wild Card. I was like, that's just crazy to think about.
Uh, if you want my honest opinion, I've said it before. We didn't know we were in junk air when we were in it. So how do we know if we're in it now? The only thing that separates the two is the numbering and the parallels that people go after, because that makes the artificial limitations with alongside with the
The
grading.
pop reports also.
Yeah, the grading and that. So we have some artificial stuff that keeps it from the junk era, but when you have 60 sets of tops
Personally,
and they're most the same pictures, so
Personally, I feel it's too much.
Me too.
Uh,
I miss my 80s with 3 sets, Tops, Fleer, Donruss.
well, and you as someone who keeps, you followed the past several years,
Mhm.
uh, I'm sure you've noticed each year the odds have been changing.
And
And
added more
in
colors.
people's minds, it's like, oh, it's less of them. No, it's not.
So
What they keep doing, and I know you said that you wanted to go, so I
yeah,
won't make this long, but I want to show this just for the people out there to understand what I'm talking about. If I can find one. Where did it go? I don't even have it. Anyway, they did these like pink. Oh, here's one. These things.
yeah,
Okay.
the waves or whatever.
They're like a foil bubble looking
Oh,
thing. They made
yeah.
a couple colors of those. In 2020, they slipped in the gold foils. That's
Mhm.
what allowed them to make a bit more in 2020. Adjusted the print run, slipped the gold foils in to make another insert parallel thing.
Yeah.
Keep your independences at 76, the blues at 50, yada yada. But you add in a couple, slip them in just a couple more, push the odds a little bit higher. People won't notice, right? We can print more. This year they added in those icy, bubbly things, whatever. There was like 3 different ones of those. Again, I told you the SPs, they're harder to get. Odds increased, slip in a couple more parallels. Now the golds are hard to get.
Right.
So it looks like, oh, well, it's just tougher to get them, right? No, that means they're just making more of it.
Right.
Um, the sets last year, I got burned so badly buying the 2021 complete sets from Walmart. I was thrilled with them in 2020, bought the
Mhm.
2021s, and uh, foolish me opened them. And then I looked at the foil board cards, realized they increased the serial numbers on the foil boards by like 3 times.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, well, they just screwed that up for everybody because that immediately meant way more, 3x production of the base cards right there. So they just keep doing things, and people think, oh, but it's got a serial number. You know, I know you're strictly baseball, but when Panini makes 15 different colors that are one serial number apart from each other, and some of them same serial number, just different color, that's not scarcity. Like when you add it up,
Yeah.
we laughed back in the day when Classic was like one of 20,000 or one of 30,000 was like, today we look at that and was like, that wasn't rare. They're doing the same thing.
Right.
There's 20,000 serial numbered cards. What they did is instead of giving you all the same photo or same color of 30, 20,000, 30,000 copies of it, all they did is broke it up
Right.
into segments and then put different colors on them and tell you they're rare.
And then we'll have Top Series 1, then Topps Chrome, Top
Yep.
Series 2, Opening Day, which are all the same card,
Yep.
different stock. It's just, I'm like, come on.
Yep.
And then they might use the same picture, but zoomed in or zoomed out on a different card on a different set.
Well, just like the Wander, okay? You have the base card, you have all of the different parallels you can get, you have the 2 short prints, but then you'll have I seen one that is pretty pricey, but it's actually a cool one to possibly get. It was the Premiere Party. They had a Premiere Party version. You'll have Montgomery Club.
Mhm.
You'll have
All Star.
maybe All-Star Game. They didn't do All-Star Game in 2021, which was surprising.
Yeah. What did
Um,
they did do something? I thought they changed it to something. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
I didn't see anything else. But then they find difference. Well, they got the first editions.
Yeah, first edition this year.
2022, they've never had that for
Right,
Topps.
right.
So yeah, I hate to burst everybody's bubble and be what do they call them, Karen? I don't want to be a
Yeah.
card Karen. Um, and I love base cards,
Mhm.
but 15, 20 bucks for a Wander Franco base card?
Right. And I mean, it's not terrible, but
And no, it's not terrible. You're not gonna
but
lose your life savings on it, but
no, but I mean, when you start saying, and then the next one is gonna be the gold number to 2022, that'll go for 150, and heaven forbid if it gets a 10 when it's graded.
mhm.
Oh, but then you gotta pay the 10 premium. Yeah, that's to me, that's where the craziness starts, and it's the same card as the other ones, and he
One
hasn't
quick
done anything yet. So,
one quick thing, because I know you're trying to run, and I meant to ask you this
sure. Yeah.
earlier. So we were discussing the strike
Mhm,
and what it could do to the card market. I think baseball, today's baseball versus like 90s baseball,
mhm.
where we might have a difference. And this is something that I don't know if you've even thought about. Today we have the first Bowmans and the prospecting guys.
Mhm.
So even with a strike, the minor league games will still happen.
Right.
So baseball cards
Just
could
without the
still have an
40-man roster.
interest,
Right.
but just with the prospects.
Mhm.
My only concern, and I'm not heavy into prospects, but I have gotten into some Bowman Chrome, breaks of teams I thought were a good buy or Bowman draft or whatever. I hit the Brady house and stuff. My only concern is, and this is an analogy I like to use, and let me get your thoughts about this. And I don't know how much prospecting you do, but it seems like because of the rise in guys like Soto and Tatis and Vlad's, or obviously Trout's first moment's massive. Um, it seems like today the hobby has chosen to buy the guys, and this is what I like to say: they're buying Amazon, or they're buying a new web startup, okay, like a brand new website that goes public on the trading market.
Mhm.
They're paying share prices for a brand new company at what the prices of Amazon is trading for today, with the hopes that this new startup will become Amazon. It's like they're buying up at the ceiling, and the only chance is for it to go to the floor. What is your thoughts on that? Because I really think, even if baseball did lock out, I love going to minor league games. I
Mhm.
would have an interest in prospecting,
Mhm.
but it's hard knowing that people are paying so much for these kids. Like, I don't know what the potential, the future potential could be.
Right. I think the lockout is gonna hurt at every level, but the Bowman thing now is the problem with Bowman and people that do the prospecting, a lot of them don't understand that a baseball guy that gets drafted doesn't play in the majors that year or the next year. It's
Right,
not like
right,
the NBA or the NFL.
right,
And there's a lot of those guys came from basketball, um, and I think that that was the first thing that kinda caught on, with the Jason Dominguez. I still baffled with that whole, thing when he came out and all that money, but I do think there is gonna be a place where people are that if you're into baseball, that's gonna be the place that people are gonna be at, is the
right,
Bowman.
and
Um,
that's
maybe pro debut this year gets a uptick. Heritage minor league baseball might get an uptick. Um,
I think there's still stuff that we as baseball fans and collectors
mhm,
could help sustain baseball collecting and cards, even with a lockout that we didn't have during the 90s lockout.
Right.
because we didn't have the first Bowmans and the pro debuts or the heritage minor leagues or anything.
Well, I think the collectors now too, it doesn't matter. The collectors now, the guys that are in the hobby to collect, there's not going to be a drop off from us. We're going to still buy the product that comes out, even if they're not playing, at least for a little while, until some of them just starts getting pissed. I don't know where my line in the dirt is. I think I said that last week. I don't know where I just finally get pissed off and sell everything and I'm done. And just keep the guys that, my old guys, and keep collecting them. Because I think there's going to be an uptick in vintage, definitely, because those guys are
Oh
not playing
yeah,
anyway.
right.
For that stuff to go up, or not even go up, more of it out there. The problem with vintage is PSA not grading. It's harder and harder to find. And SGC, I have a video coming out where I have a SGC reveal, and I speak on, I don't understand why I don't see more SGC out on the market. It should be flooded now. There's no reason why it's not. We're almost into 2 full seasons of sports where PSA is not grading at a normal price. So why are we not?
Are you talking on eBay or
Just feels like anywhere. Like when you
have
go
you
to
been
a
on my
show,
slides recently?
what? Well, I've gone on eBay and I've seen more, but it should be. I've seen more raw stuff now than I do in the past.
My slides, so I get on there every so often and just look at newly listed stuff,
Oh,
and
you
then I
say
like
my
hitting the
slabs?
archive. Huh?
My slabs, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I have
So
not been on my slabs. I have it, but I have not been on there.
so like I don't like list a whole lot on there,
Mhm.
but I do get on there because it's such a small, and I don't want to say this in a negative way, but it's a basic site
Mhm.
that you can get on and kind of get a good visual of what's going on in the hobby. There's some little quirky things that I do that other people probably
Mhm.
don't even think about, or well, dude, you're insane. Why do you even do that? But you can look at stuff like that and you can see, okay, what are people putting up for sale?
Mhm.
And when on a site like that, it's not like, okay, all of your stuff's listed, then all of my stuff's listed. It's not my eBay store versus your eBay store. It's
Right.
everybody as they're listing it, the cards are flowing on there. So if
Mhm.
you're seeing trends where like Tom Brady's listed a ton and Joe Burrow's listed a ton and everything else, it gives you a visualized trend. And it's a flaw with a site like that,
Oh,
honestly.
okay.
But what you can also tell is which slabs are being listed more, who's using who.
Right.
I see a lot more SGC on there, and that's why I say PSA is still, the PSA monster is still going to be there
Mhm.
because so much of the bulk is coming back now.
Right.
So even though they've been closed, they did have 12 million cards sitting there.
But it's from a year
You
and a half ago now. My
But
last
they still have like
right,
5 to 6
14.
million to go.
Yeah,
That's
at least.
that's the thing. When you look at it on that scale, yeah, they've been closed, but they had everything in-house.
Right.
Like, SGC's getting orders in. PSA's got the stuff sitting there in the back room collecting dust
Right.
that they're trying to get to.
Mhm.
So that's where the difference is. The other difference is now SGC is able to get the new stuff out there. Like
Mhm.
Wander Franco, guarantee you the pop report for SGC is going to be pretty significant.
Right.
You're going to have a few people that might try to slip them in at $50
Mhm.
to PSA or whatever on these economies or whatever they're doing. SGC is going to have a massive pop report for that Topps Wander.
Right.
CSG is going to get a bunch of them.
Right.
So when I go in there, I do see a lot more SGC listed. I'm also seeing more sold than before.
Oh, yeah, I
Card
see it
shows.
more than before, but my thing is, why is it not just an overwhelming, difference? Like, I
I'll
I
also
can
say this, and people might disagree with me,
uh-huh.
but like I know myself, okay, and I'm going to use just myself as an example.
Mhm.
a lot of what I send, I keep.
Yeah, me
I
too,
think
I guess.
eh, this might be a crazy thing to say, but I think PSA is for your flipper and FCC is for your collector.
Mhm.
You know, um, don't get me wrong, you can sell SGC. Obviously, I've used them now for 2 years
Right.
exclusively, except for 2 cards that finished up today.
That's all.
That's the only 2 cards I've ever sent anywhere else since I started using SGC, and I didn't even wanna do that, but it was my only option. Um, so yeah, people that say they don't sell or you can't sell them, that's
Right.
yeah,
I
it's
just, I've seen people like, bulk guys that are begging to get to 100 to get them sent in. I know you don't have that problem, but like if you subtracted, well, most people came to you for SGC, but if people don't know out there, if you want to, Bobbles is a SGC bulk guy. If you're ever looking for that, I'll put the information below. Um, but if you take subtract platinum, like how many would you have in your group? I know you have well over 100 because you've sent thousands even before platinum.
yeah.
But yeah, but like without platinum, would you still be sending 1,000 at this time?
Probably really close. The order
Okay.
that just went out was 915 from the
Got
group.
okay. And so I know
I'm
you
gonna
have a
tell you, and I don't know who you're referring to because I don't know what other submitters you're watching. One thing
I'm
different
just
about
talking
us,
about that I'm part of, not really watching. I don't.
well,
Right.
one thing different about our submission is A, we're not new to it. We've been
Right.
doing it now for 2 years.
Right.
B, I always charge the cheapest rate that we are allowed to charge.
Mhm.
I seen a guy that just got access to be a group submitter for SGC, and he's sprinkling icing and sugar coating that he's doing these people such an amazing favor, and he's charging $30 a card.
Yeah.
Where the hell is the discount? What? Why even use the guy?
Right.
You know, I see many of them out there charging 28 or 20, 26, whatever. 26, I'm okay with if they're doing a review service because that does take an awful lot of time. Um, but if they're just submitting the cards for people, they can charge $23.
Right.
We all and let me also explain that 23, the minimum rate, we also pay for overnight shipping
Mhm.
to SGC and back
Mhm.
from SGC. We also sleeve every single slab that gets done. There's a lot of costs involved what we do. And that's why when people have said that, and I know I'm not saying everybody, but there's some people out there that have had this image that I just stuff my pockets full of cash because I'm doing group submissions. They're completely wrong.
Right.
I do the group subs because that allows me to submit my cards at a lower price. And then, yes, if it doesn't even out, 100% where, what came in versus what I spent for shipping and everything else, then the funds do cover some of what I send to grade. Am I getting rich off of it? No. I'm just the same as I was before I started doing it.
Right.
Um, so yes, I don't know what the people are charging that aren't getting it. I will say there is a lot more group submitters with access now.
Right.
They've given a lot more permission, which surprises me.
Well, I have to
Um,
say the ones I'm talking about, they were PSA submitters that flipped over. So I guess that's what I was saying is you've been staying
are
with
you
us.
talking about? I'll just ask. Are you talking about Mike O?
Yeah. Well, he does it on a down kind of quietly. It's more of Triple Crown. Triple Crown runs the submissions now on his Facebook page.
Oh, I thought them two were together.
They are together. So you can say Mike O, but Mike O it was Mike O's page and then Triple Crown came in.
Okay.
So
Yeah. See, I don't know all of the details. I knew
yeah,
Mike was I've talked to Mike and everything.
he is a submitter, but it's just more of a friendly thing. Like for him,
Okay.
it's the same way. He only wants to do like 100 cards, so he
Right, and he probably does it for the same thing where he
right.
just wants to get a cut, a discount on
Mhm.
his cards. I so and I know the time's getting long,
Yes, sir.
but so I never intended to be a group submitter. That was never my intention.
Yeah.
I when I said the channel kind of started as a channel in March of 2020, I
Mhm.
did it because COVID hit, and I had sent out my first order to SGC, um, a bulk order. I did 110 cards, and I was like, well, I love watching Elite Co when he gets his order back, and I was like, yeah, I'll go up in my room, and I did really well on my first order. I was like, I'll share my grades, show the cards, excited, everything. And then I actually started doing videos because people were like asking about how they sold. And I literally, it was less than 2 weeks. I had sold enough stuff to be able to send out another order
Mhm.
and cover my fees. And I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. So I sent out another 110 cards. And so people, the channel started growing. And then obviously the pandemic hit, PSA shut down, BGS shut down. And people was like, hey, would you be interested in doing group subs? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never done this before. I'm just a guy sitting here having fun, with a
Right.
camera and showing my cards off. And me and my wife discussed it, and I was like, at first I said no a couple times. I honestly I said no, I don't want to do it. There's a lot of responsibility, a lot of work. There's a lot of people out there that could do a lot of shady things, and people more and more just kept asking. And I was like, well, let me talk to them and see how we can go about this. Like, how would this even work?
Mhm.
And so I called down there and I talked to the guy that kind of runs or sets up the bulk submissions and everything. And he gave me like a, a, a way that would work best for them for doing the orders, and how I can make sure we came together with a way to make sure there's no duplicates in an invoice, and all this. That way I knew whose cards were whose, and just kind of came up with this battle plan. And I told her, I was like, all right. And at the time they had different service levels, and obviously grading was a lot cheaper. So I told her, I was like, all right, let's do a test run and we'll do a 10-day submission. And I think I was able to offer that at like $15 a card, which is crazy to say. Um, and we had like 100 and some cards, and sent them in. They came back, everything went smooth, and we were like, all right, let's try this 20-day. Or yeah, I think it was like 20-day service or whatever. Let's try the regular service level. And to be honest, we thought, okay, we'll get 350 cards. I'll throw in 150. Back then, the more cards you sent, which this is something people probably may or may not know, but you know, in 2020, the more cards you sent, you got a cheaper rate,
Mhm.
but it capped out at 500 cards was the lowest rate they would offer you. So I was like, well, if we can get to the 500 card rate, we can charge 850. At the time, it was $10 if you sent yourself. It was 850 to do a bulk submission, period. So I was like, we can offer them a bulk rate, even if they send us 5 cards. So it was pretty awesome, and it was awesome to offer that to people. Um, and this, just for anyone out there that's ever curious about like how much margin is involved. At the time, if we got 500 cards in the order, my rate was $7. So it was literally $1.50 a card. But when you factor in shipping and everything else,
Right.
that isn't a lot of money, you know.
Right.
So that first order, we were expecting 350 cards. I was going to toss in 150 to get to the 500 point. And the reason was, then that was going to save me another $1.50 a card, because we were going to be then at $7 a card. I was like, okay, this is awesome. I can grade my stuff at $7. It turned out we ended up with 1,120 cards from the group. And then I tossed in 200. because I was doing like 110, 120 card orders, and I was like, well, let me go ahead and throw, at $7, I'm saving more money. Let me throw this in. So I did 200 that order, and we were at 1320. And then the very next month repeated itself, 1300, and it was like, holy crap,
Right.
So um, I didn't ever expect to do it. It wasn't something that I was like, I'm gonna do bulk subs for grading.
Right.
I never had that in my thoughts.
Right.
And Platinum, they didn't start subbing with us till it was April or May of 2021. So we had
Right.
actually been doing subs for over a year
Mhm.
before they ever even came on.
Right.
Sending stuff, and we've actually known them for about 7 years now. They're good friends, and obviously they do breaks and stuff, and this helps them out. And,
Right.
so yeah, I can't explain outside of either people don't like advertise it. I will say I'm shocked at how well we do
Mhm.
because I don't really advertise. I
Right.
have the YouTube channel. We made the Facebook group because of building the community aspect from the YouTube channel.
Mhm.
And then I'm very horrible at Instagram. I try to post more on there, but I'm not good at it. We don't really advertise. It's hard to advertise. I'll tell you, two of the larger submitters, one of them, we actually compete with very strongly, surprisingly enough, with numbers some on some months, but there's some groups out there that some submitters have exclusive access to be able to advertise their group subs in,
Mhm.
so they obviously get a lot more,
Yeah.
um, but our 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 growth has literally came majority from word of mouth.
Mhm.
People telling somebody, hey, if you want to get your cards graded, talk to this guy. um, uh, Somebody doing a video with their return.
Mhm.
Somebody else watched it. Hey, where'd you get your cards graded? Who'd you go through? Um, and personally, whether we did 100, 300, 500, or 5,000, that is more important to me than how much we're sending down there every month.
Right.
It's cool putting in the preview or whatever. Hey, we got 1,500 cards this month. We got 1,700 cards. I sat here one night for 6.5 hours, 6.5 hours doing a preview, you know, because that's something we do to make it an
Right.
experience and transparent for everybody. But let's be real, if I had 5,000, I'd be here for 24 freaking hours doing them.
Right.
Um, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but it would be a lot. And but the growth by word of mouth and knowing that we're doing things the right way
Mhm.
means more to me than any number
Mhm.
sending down there.
Right.
I mean, that that takes a lot of hard work. And you know, advertising and getting people to know who you are, anybody, anybody can do that really.
Right.
But seeing someone emailing you out of the blue, hey, I heard about you from so and so. I'm interested in finding out how to do this. That's just awesome. Or
Right.
going to a show, and I always have on the Blue Nats hat. I need to retire this thing because it's from the 2019 season.
Yeah.
They don't make the blue hat anymore. They changed it to red, but I always wear the Blue Nats hat, and so it sticks out. And the first time it ever happened to me, I had to apologize to the person because I was in shock. But to go to a show and just somebody come up to you and and I'm sure you've had it too.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
at the national last year. I was kind of in shock. about what was
Yeah,
going
you're like,
on.
you don't know how to react because
Yeah,
I was sitting there talking to a dealer one day at a table at Chantilly, and a guy like walks up and he's like, "Hey, are you Bobbles?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and you are, and it's just not something I ever expected.
yeah,
I've never been. I like to talk, as you can tell. I love talking cardboard. I
right.
love talking the hobby, not dollars and cents and graphs, and I like talking the hobby. Um, and I never expected to like be known or even have a nickname, Bowels, and there's a story behind the name. It's just like everything has been meant just because of enjoying this silly little thing of cardboard, you know,
Right.
collecting and something we did as a kid.
Mhm.
So if it wasn't for these silly little, cardboard pictures, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you tonight,
Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm not a very social person outside of the community. So it's a crazy little thing. It's awesome. Um, and I hope it stays strong. I hope it
Yeah.
doesn't get ruined because the dollars
Well, I think it
don't
is. It'll
flow
be.
in.
Yeah, I think it'll be fine. And I think we're going to end it on that upbeat. I like that ending. That was a great way to end this one on. Again, a lot more we could talk about, and we could do that in the future.
Yeah, I
Until
could
next.
talk. I
Yeah,
love talking about it, man. It's
I know
just
you
fun.
do. Till next time, leave a like, share. I'm gonna leave Bobble's information down below. He's Bobbles and Ball Cards, and the missus is very strong in his community too. So until next time, we'll see you.